Okay.
Hi, Allison. We haven't started yet.
Okay, thank you.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll get you a copy.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have my mic on, sorry. Item number, so that was the end of public input and there was none, sorry. Woo, about the mic. Item number 2 on the agenda is approval of minutes from December 3rd. I did send out a revised minutes with this latest agenda. So can I hear a motion?
So move.
So Sosha, second. Thanks you, Nigel, second. Any discussion?
No, I didn't have anything.
All in favor of adopting the December minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the elections of chair and co-chair for 2025, which kind of feels a little, since there's only a few of us here, it feels a little scary, but and especially with Claire not being here, she's the current co-chair. So right now I'm the chair and she's the co-chair. The duties of the chair, that's the only difference between being a member of this committee and being the chair, is that the chair is in charge of putting together the agenda and the minutes. So unlike a lot of committees, like even the Conservation Commission, where the clerk does a lot of does those two jobs, because of the subject matter technicalities that we deal with, it's really hard for any of the clerks. And this isn't, Laurel's not to be singled out because we've had several clerks for this committee. And it's just, we just can't even reasonably expect somebody in a clerk job to know all the technical difficulties of
Right.
the engineering and the science that's going on. And so that's why I am more involved with minutes than other town committees typically. As far as the agenda goes, it's a it's a couple of phone calls and knowing where we are with the committee. So for example, we've already queued up Annette Grilly for April 1st and the URI Coastal Institute for May 6th. So that's April and May are already queued up for us. Anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of so there's a few administrative duties, and then there's things like attending the town council meetings when there's a relevant issue. So it's not a lot more than you do already, but it is some.
May I make a motion?
Yes, please, Nigel. Please turn on your mic. Thank you.
So I propose that we reappoint Judy as the chair of this committee.
Second.
Yes. So, as you guys know, I'm really, would like to stop being a chair and really sort of dig into some of the projects and spend my administrative time on the projects rather than agendas and minutes. But I am willing to be the chair until December. But then you guys just gotta cough it up and find somebody new, okay?
Deal.
Because this is it. This will be 4 years. Oh, good. Hey, George, come on up and join us. Anyway, but that'll be 4 years. And I think that's really too long for me for a chair. You know, that's getting to be right on the edges of, you know, you need new blood. And it's not, and if you guys keep me on the committee, it's not like I'm going anywhere. I'm just, you know, changing my duties. But I am willing to continue to serve as chair. Is there anyone who would be interested in serving as vice chair, since Claire isn't here to defend herself? And it might be an opportunity for, you know, training up to become the chair. Nope. Would somebody like to nominate Claire? It's not equitable, but it's fair.
The Block Island Division.
Mary's just walking in.
Oh, here comes Mary. Yeah, maybe Mary would like to be vice chair. And there's actually the vice chair. Hi, Mary. Right.
You've just been elected.
Yeah, please come join us up here at the table. No. Yeah. So, Mary, I've agreed to be the chair till December, but then I'm telling you guys, you've got to cough up another name. And, because that'll be 4 years. That's quite enough. Yeah, 25. And that was not worth a try. And right now we are taking nominations for co-chair or vice chair. And the job of the vice chair is to chair the meetings when I'm not here. And that's about it.
Mary.
Would you like to be vice chair? No, I don't. No, so I promised Ann I wouldn't give her a tough job this year since she's going through so many transitions. But that doesn't hold for next year. But anyway, I think we can nominate Claire and no, she's not here. And if she really doesn't want to do it for some reason, then we can revisit this. But I think that, so can I hear a Oh, I guess I can nominate her.
Yeah,
can't I?
yeah.
I nominate Claire as vice chair.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, so we only have 2 candidates. I'm going to give you guys just a second. Yeah, but I'm going to give them just a second to see if you really want to do this with me as chair and Claire as vice chair for a 4th year. Yeah, no, yeah, nobody's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carries. I can't believe it. Anyway, all right. Committee member updates. Update from the town council. Is there anyone besides me who has an update from the town council?
No.
So the town council met last night and approved Jean-Louis Farge as the 9th member of our board, or of our committee. I'm sorry, we're not a board, we're a committee. So Jean-Louis is not here today because he tested positive for COVID
Oh,
yesterday. So this poor guy. So anyway, very happy. Jean-Louis has been attending our meetings, has been very active. even when even before he was really representing us, he was participating in other meetings with us and stuff. So I'm really excited to have him aboard officially. I think that's really great. He's got really good energy, and I think that'll be great. And that's what I have from the town council. I haven't heard anything about the town budget, but I am not, I believe, in a position this year to ask for any more than we've ever had before. I don't think, unless, I mean, I'll always ask for a
Mm.
coastal resilience officer. But yes, that
Just-
will be my plea.
Just a reminder that Charlene posted all the dates that the town council will be holding budget hearings. If you
Oh, she
haven't
did.
gotten that, ask her to forward it to you.
Yes,
Because you will want to pick and choose which ones you want to
Yeah.
attend.
okay. Let me get the budget schedule. And I will be away in late February, early March, and so there will be, if Claire or I can't, we'll be asking to make sure that there is representation from this committee at those meetings, because we're totally serious about a coastal resilience officer. Okay, Allison is on board. Update from the town planner.
Hi, everyone. So I guess the update would be on our two projects that are moving along. One being the hazard mitigation plan update. The consultant Kim Jacobs is almost completed with the draft of the plan that will be circulated soon for review, comment, and starting the public hearing process scheduled for March. So that's something that we'll make sure obviously Judy's been involved in attending those committee meetings. We have one final committee meeting for that scheduled for next week, and then we'll circulate it to the full committee. And then on the Corn Neck Road Dune Resiliency Project, GZA has made plans. Unfortunately, they were planning on coming out this week, but due to weather, Thursday, it's been rescheduled till next week. So looking forward to getting them started on the project. They've been obviously working remotely on gathering information, but this will be their first visit to the island, and that's planned for next Thursday. So several members of the committee, I expect, will be attending the initial kind of kickoff meeting, and then they'll be visiting the site. So glad to see that's moving forward. Any questions on anything that I can help answer right now on either of those two?
One quick one, Allison, the hazard mitigation group, they're meeting the 6th or the 13th at 9:30 or 9 o'clock?
I have it as the 13th.
13th, that's
It
what I
had, there
have.
was a pencil in, I think it had
Yeah.
changed, or yep, so.
Yep.
no-
Is it
no-
9 or
yep,
9:30?
No meeting
It's-
this week, but it'll be next week. It's 9 to 10:30 on the 13th.
Thanks, Allison.
Yep.
Can I ask who from the committee meeting with the
Do you have yeah, so the members of the
Thursday.
committee who are meeting with GZA are Judy, Nigel, and Mary. And we've been the sort of big, in the committee, the big pushers on Corn Neck Road stuff, Nigel wrote the white paper, Mary has, and brought a lot of information from what Ned has been doing with the sand capture. And so the three of us have been sort of a nexus for this group on that. So, and that's, I think, especially as GZA ramps up, how maybe get busier and be too busy to be the chair for next year, but whatever. Okay, so the 13th is the next meeting of the hazard and flood mitigation group. And
Yeah,
that's
so
9 to
those-
10:30. And then after that, we will be meeting with GZA. So next Thursday is a
Oh,
very
same
busy day.
day.
Yes, it's going to be a very busy day. Yes.
Oh.
When after that, like 11 right after that? Or?
Yeah, right after that, because they're going to try and get on the 1:30 ferry or the 2 o'clock ferry. You can be back at the dock by 1:30.
There's not even a lunch break.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody eat before. Yeah,
So is there, it's on.
good.
Is there any particular reason why those of us who are meeting with GTA should also go to the Hazard Mitigation Committee meeting?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That's very specific to the writing of the plan. And,
Two separate, yeah, just kind of a coincidence. It ended up being the same day. That was their day they were available, and we just mentioned, well, we have this other meeting already scheduled, so kind of working around that. So there's no reason really why it ended up being, it wasn't planned that way.
no,
to be-
I'll probably like go down
Okay.
and meet them when they come in on the early ferry, and then, maybe I'll give these guys my car and, they can drop me off here and then they can go drive around while we're in the meeting, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah. Okay, update from the Coastal Resilience Committee Chair. I think everything I need to say or want to say it can be accommodated in the rest of the agenda. So I think I'll take a pass on anything beyond that, unless you guys have any specific questions for me. Okay, so the next item of business on our agenda was the Conservation Commission. We had a very nice meeting with several of the members of this committee joined the Conservation Commission at one of their meetings. And they are really ramping up and getting more engaged and more active. I would like to suggest to this group for consideration, creating a sort of a position on the committee as the Conservation Commission liaison, so that there's always that person who is in charge of being at the Conservation Commission meetings, and it's not like a big scramble. Oh, I can't go. Oh, I can't go.
Yeah.
If someone's in charge of it, is in charge of being the liaison, then if they can't go, then they're in charge of finding somebody, instead of me trying to scramble around. So, do you guys agree? Or, I mean, I'm happy to
makes
open that
sense.
up for discussion. Anne?
So we do have as one of our points of contact, CRMC/Conservation Commission, and both George and Jean-Louis had put their name next to that, so maybe they could.
That was a
mistake.
But maybe one of you could be CRMC and the other one Conservation. Commission.
CRMC.
Yeah, you want it,
So
yeah.
Jean-Louis is not here, but maybe.
Well, and maybe,
Plus,
just them backing each other up too, that you and Jean-Louis back each other up.
Right,
Yeah.
because I looked at after I said
Makes
yes
sense.
to that, I looked at when the Conservation Commission meets, and I go, oh, that's gonna be a problem. So I'm glad, yeah, it makes sense for him to take the lead in that.
Okay, well, I'll ask him if he is amenable to that. And,
That was going to be my question also. When do they meet? Do you know?
I looked it up and it was,
well, yeah, their clerk is, yeah. Amanda is just.
Sorry, Amanda.
is
well,
here.
if I knew you were the clerk, I changed my mind, no.
Thank you. It is the first Tuesdays at 4:30.
Oh.
It's the
that's why.
first.
I thought a second.
Second Tuesday. It's the week after yours. It's the
Yes,
second
it's the
Tuesdays. I'm sorry.
first Tuesday of the month at 4:30.
Okay.
We're the first Tuesday of the month at 3. So it's a week later, and I'll put that in my note to him, second Tuesday at 4:30.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think that'll help. And I'm, of course, hope that Amanda continues to attend our meetings. But I think that it would be good if we had a committee member that was really digging in with the commission on, where can we be of greatest service to them?
I think the one topic that we all agreed on was the need for education, public education, and to look for overlaps.
Yeah, opportunities to collaborate, yes.
Yeah, that seemed to be the number one outcome of that meeting.
Amanda, do you want to say anything else about our collaborations or?
I haven't been completely filled in yet because I wasn't here. I did watch the meeting, but I haven't met with my board yet.
Okay.
So we will touch base on it. And if I have questions, I'll let you know.
But and you like the idea of having a sort of a designated liaison from us?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then if there's something you feel that needs to get brought, I
Well-
can add to the agenda and things like that. It makes sense.
And you know who to contact.
I do. I do know who to contact, but I mean, it makes sense. I like that I get your emails because it keeps me informed if there's something I need to make the board aware of.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, you're on my list now. Forget
Yeah.
about it. You're doomed.
We know where you live.
Burial by paperwork. Is there anyone else for the Conservation Commission? Right now, where they're just really gearing up and, it's going to be just like anything, the first spade of dirt that gets turned over and then everything will explode and everybody will be mad and then we'll all be scrambling yeah. But, yeah, up until then, we're planning and everything looks really good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes, please come on up to the, yes.
Just a clarification on the Conservation Commission, because I thought they were meeting tonight. We are, okay, so that's not, it is a special thing.
we had to move it because of something with scheduling. So it's not a regular occurrence.
What time tonight?
So they're meeting right after us today. Okay. Anything else on the Conservation Commission? Okay. The next item of business is committee reporting. And I happen to know that there's quite a bit to report on public information and community engagement. But are there any other working groups or points of contact that would like to report out?
No, but we are overdue. Ocean Avenue North has a report, and I don't have it with me, but please schedule us for our next meeting.
Oh, yeah, I'll have the report outs from the working groups and stuff will be in every agenda.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, unless, and particularly in March, because I don't have anything on the agenda in March yet. And I'm not even going to be here. So, yeah, go ahead, Ann.
We did have a meeting back in, I think it was December, on town ordinance. Social, you were on that
Yeah,
call, Allison, Glennie,
yeah.
Claire. I haven't followed up. I don't know what's happened since then, but maybe we can hear. I mean, I think the ordinance
Yeah,
review,
Yeah, we need to keep following up on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
but I don't know from Allison whether there's been any
Allison,
further
have you,
conversations since
has
the-
anything happened on the ordinance review since Glennie stepped away? I know that there was the town, a couple of people in the town were looking at it and that was the last I heard.
Yeah, so we had that meeting, I guess it was back in December, and Glennie took some time off in January. So I just was checking in with her today on when she's returning as far as from travel. So, but I can move forward on what our next step was to reduce that list because it was very exhaustive and some things were more related to this committee versus others or more related to resiliency. So we kind of picked some priority actions within that spreadsheet. So next step was creating a kind of smaller document, a document that lists the priorities to then circulate, obviously, and to start working towards implementation. So that's something we could have for your next, if you want to put it on the next month's agenda. And if she's not available, to do
It's
that,
a
I
standing
will
working group.
get-
So,
I
yeah.
can, oh, okay, it's always on the agenda, you mean, under the committee? Okay,
Yeah.
so we can plan to have a reduced list for next month.
Yeah, and if you need help with the list reduction, I'm that's silly because I'm going away for 3 weeks, but I'm pretty good at it. Look at doing affinity mapping, like where we're both are saying the same thing only in different ways, and other kinds of there's all kinds of little tricks for list reduction. And so if you have any trouble, Allison, don't hesitate to come to us. I mean, Anne's a professional
I
on
mean,
this stuff.
We can schedule another meeting. I think we.
Yeah, why don't we
didn't get all
schedule
the way
a
through.
Yeah.
working group meeting
Yeah.
sometime next week or the following week? Sometime with, maybe
Let's
2
do
weeks,
this.
and then we
Yeah.
can bring that forward to the full committee once it's been finalized.
Okay.
Awesome. That's great. Any other groups that? want-
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
So for the data, I met with John Riordan and Jean-Louis the other day, and we were speaking about data that's available. Jean-Louis had taken the NOAA erosion data, and we were looking at that and looking at sea level rise and storm surge data in comparison. So what we think we're going to do is put a booklet together and possibly a story map. And with doing that, Jean-Louis has access to students, and I'm gonna love the university, but in the Midwest. And then talking with, I'll talk with a couple of professors at URI. But we had a question that maybe you or Nigel could answer, Judy, and I can reach out to Brian myself. But does Brian do a model with sand transport? I know when he came and spoke at BIMI, he was saying that it would be possible that the island wouldn't split in half because of the way the transportation of sand would fill that back in. And looking at the NOAA models, it shows it gone.
When you say gone, you mean that
It
we,
shows that there's no landmass there and
and it's split in two.
it's split in two. So I was wondering, with models.
Well, so I just happened to have a conversation with Nate Vinatero, which I'm
Vinatero.
sorry, I'm sorry, I always butcher his last name. I'm so sorry, Nate. But I just happened to run into him last week, and I asked him about, the upcoming meeting in May and what was he working on now? And he and Brian are putting together a proposal to do a sand budget for Block Island. I don't know that I don't think anyone's ever done it before. But we talked a lot about, a box model where you create boxes, and watch how much sand goes in and then out of the box. And, anyway, I have no details on that. That's not funded. It's just, we were just chatting about, what direction they were going in, but they're definitely I think the sand budget for Block Island is an outstanding next step for answering some of the tough questions that we have.
And one of the other things that we talked about was for me to talk with Sodi Provenon, who's at URI, because they do the groundwater modeling, and slumping is such a huge issue.
Right.
Does the Army Corps of Engineers have a model?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because they do the work.
Of what? The model for what?
No, they deposit sand.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, they may, but, I'd rather have somebody who was actually paying attention to erosion rates and stuff like that. I mean, they'd have to come to us for all the data
Oh.
for it. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then let's move on to public information and community engagement, because there's a lot to report here. I'm very happy that Mike Gardner is on the phone with us. He's on the Zoom with us. Because there are in the GZA contract, he's a member of GZA. In that contract, they have 3 community engagement meetings, one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. And the purpose of these meetings is to create a community understanding, a mutual understanding of the problems and the approaches that we're taking. And the first meeting, we're talking about, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're talking about holding that in the May-June timeframe. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right.
Okay.
Hopefully you can
Yeah.
hear me.
And so what that meeting will exactly look like is up to us, working with GZA. on, I mean, we can be really helpful in pulling this off and having the right people there and so that's one of the really important things that we're talking to GZA about right now is getting underway on the planning for those events.
Okay.
One idea that Sosha had was to create a series of posts for the BI bulletin board to explain what I would say is like the state of the Corn Neck Road project. So, one at the beginning, one at the middle, one at the end, and then a couple sprinkled in between for, activities that require some attention. Like, for example, if we did a huge remediation in the parking lot and then it flooded anyway, or, whatever. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But, yeah, I think there'll be lots of opportunities for, public outreach around the Corn Neck Road project. And so Sosha has volunteered to look for opportunities to create a couple of posts.
Yeah, I'd like to, the framework is going to be the contract that GZA has with the town, so that much of the terminology will be coming from that particular document. I am not going to editorialize. In checking the public outreach meetings, I discovered you had one more. I mean, the first one is in May and June, and then you have one coming up that is virtual with the Coastal Resilience Committee. It's a point at which you will be presenting the top 3 designs. Do you have a rough idea of when that will be?
We don't have any exact date on that yet, but
Yeah.
that'll come, after we have our site visit, and we need more discussions with the town to really lock that in.
Yeah.
But
And then,
we'll definitely keep you updated when we have that.
thanks. When I compared the 60% design for permitting with the 90%, I noticed that they were virtually at the same time. In other words, you scheduled August for the former and September and October for the latter. Is that still a reasonable timetable?
That's how we laid it out. That doesn't include any potential permitting hiccups. But yes, as of now, that's as best as we can lay it out.
So in order for me to get prepared for this, I kind of have to know what I'm talking about. My first question was for Allison, and she answered it. And the question was, what is the status regarding the grant monies? And is Trump going to be spoiling any of this? And the short answer is that we were awarded $465,000 by the Rhode Island Resiliency Bank and $185 by the National Fish and Wildlife
Federation.
Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank.
Yeah, the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank
Bank.
and that's the Municipal Resiliency Program, yes.
that one.
Yeah.
So sure enough, Allison informed us that she received notice from NIFWIF that effective immediately, and I'm quoting, the grant award has been temporarily paused. The following day, she received additional correspondence indicating that the Office of Management and Budget had rescinded the directive for a pause on federal financial assistance programs. NIFWIF advised to continue monitoring for any updates, but to date, no further guidance or communication has been received.
And just so you know that it's not just NIFWIF, that was all federal granting
Global, yeah.
programs. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was Sea Grant, it was NIH, it was everybody.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, but to be careful, I will share my first drafts with both Judy and Allison regarding the post on the bib, so that my information, spelling, grammar, sentence structure all be correct.
Yeah, of course.
Allison, on the NIFWIF part of the grant, have those funds been obligated to us already or not
Yes.
yet?
Yes.
Okay, so they're
We've been
safer than
awarded, yeah, we've
complicated.
been awarded those grants. We haven't received the funding, but they're obligated through congressional appropriations.
Yeah, they could still take them back.
I assume the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank funds are not affected by
So
this.
far.
They could be if they were NOAA funds, that were just administered locally by the infrastructure bank. So it's not as straightforward as you think, and we might be, yes,
Ah,
yeah.
oops.
But we're gonna, I
I think the
think it's,
funding was through state bond money, but
oh, there you go.
for the
If that
municipal
was state bond
resiliency-
money, that's different, yeah.
municipal resiliency program, I'll double check, but they haven't reached out on anything related to that,
Good.
so I don't think it's impacted. But
Good. Because I know that the infrastructure bank, I think, has been asked to like administer NOAA funds, for example. Not for this perhaps, but.
Do you want me to discuss the other points of the committee or?
Sure, you want to go? Yeah, I have my list, you have your list, go for it.
My list is your list.
Oh.
So
Well,
anyway, another thing that we focused on was Earth Day, and that's an opportunity where we can reach out to the community as always. And what came to mind first was to have storm tools available on laptop for people to be trained. We'd like to make sure that if we include maps, that they be interactive, and we have to design a question for this year's Earth Day. Last year, it was what could be done to address sea level rise on Block Island and where, and before that, it was where are you most concerned about sea level rise? I'm sure that we'll design a question that relates to Corn Neck Road, since we want to keep the public interest and attention going between now and when the project, if the project occurs. But it just occurred to me that Earth Day would be a wonderful day for us to overlap with the Nature Conservancy.
Or the Conservation Commission.
I mean, the Conservation Commission, right. Okay, the other idea I want Judy to explain
Can you
because
just tell us the date again of those.
Okay, so Earth Day is officially April 22nd, which is a Tuesday. They were talking about doing it on a Saturday.
hopefully.
And unfortunately, the Saturday before is Easter. So there's still some
No, it's the other way around. Sunday, they wanted it on Sunday, but Sunday is Easter.
Easter. The weekend before
And
is
we're
Easter.
hoping,
Yeah.
we're hoping to make it a Saturday, but they
And
may
they
not, they may not go along with
No,
it.
Yeah, so
no,
we're
they
still,
won't. The church doesn't want, I thought I had told you that, I apologize. The church does not want to host on Easter weekend
right.
at all.
Oh.
Yeah, because they're busy.
Because they're well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know when Earth Day is yet.
Okay.
We know when it is, but not.
Not when we're celebrating it, correct? And
So
and maybe,
sometime in April.
yeah, yes.
I'm looking to see if I have any more information.
Now, in the past, Judy has always been very active in stating that our goal is to make everyone think about sea level rise in everything they do. And she's recommending that we develop a tagline for the stakeholders this year. So we'll have to brainstorm that one. I went to the library and spoke with Bob, who said yes when I asked, could we please have a temporary but permanent display of any and all handouts that we receive from GCA, because it will include posters and documents and graphs and whatnot. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity to use the library as a way to educate the public, whether they live on or off island. And he said he saw no problem with it, especially since it was not a political thing. So I'm happy to tell you that.
We also talked about kiosks or other kinds of displays at BIMI. I know we've talked to BIMI in years past about it and haven't ever done anything about it. The Medical Center, Chamber of Commerce, and the Beach Pavilion, just as a beginning laundry list of where we might consider either
Story
putting
time.
up a poster or doing something that calls attention to our activities.
And Judy, why don't you talk about what you want to do at
Oh, yeah,
Persephone?
well, yeah, so, another idea that we had was to have a consistent casual gathering for, anyone, the public, at Oddfellows or at Persephone's on the Porch, where a member of the committee is guaranteed to show up for conversation and to answer questions, gather input, et cetera. And I'm like happy to have a regular hour at Oddfellows if Kate goes along with this. But where I'm thinking of this as the Brian Wilson model of public engagement, where you always knew that he was going to be sitting in his chair at the bar, and that any question that you ever had, you knew where to find Brian. And he was always willing to engage with you and answer. And while I don't want to be there every day, I'm willing to show up once a week at a regular time. But it's just an idea if you guys think it's
I
a
love
good
it.
one. Where even you can come and visit with me. And so I'm not sitting there alone with my cup of coffee for an hour or whatever. But it doesn't just have to be me. I mean, I think that each of you should share the wealth. And we'll have to come up with an idea of, what's an appropriate schedule and all that. But these are just some of the ideas that had come up with.
And then in addition to getting onto the TV on the ferries, possibly that we really didn't go into detail there, or onto a Block Island app, we also discussed getting guest speakers out during this year who will support gathering of information, who will be supportive in keeping the public informed. For example, we want to share, we'd like to share what the status is of the Rhode Island Resiliency Plan. I mean, where does it stay right now? Where does it stand right now? And what kind of support can we expect? Or things like sustainability strategies used in other municipalities or coastal villages of Rhode Island or any island, frankly. And maybe a speaker from TNC who could explain the benefits of nature-based solutions regarding storm surges and sea level rise. So this interlocks with what we're doing. I think if I'm getting Judy,
Yeah,
if
so.
I'm reading you right, the focus between now and the end of the year is going to be to support, assist, facilitate anything to make the Corneck Road project successful.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we're very
So-
focused.
So specifics on that, we don't, one of the ideas we had was bringing in an expert on homeowners insurance.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What we can expect, what we can watch for. So if any of you have an idea of who would be a good person to, address our group, please, let me know. Kim Coriath is the Rhode Island Chief Resilience Officer, and she's a wonderful person. And even if she couldn't come personally, she could do it virtually. But I'd love to get her out here. In terms of talking to other resilience officers and other communities, you'll all remember Teresa Crean, who worked for Sea Grant, and her last job at Sea Grant was when she came out and helped us get this committee started. That was her last job with Sea Grant. So she went to Barrington, and now she is Newport's Director of Resilience and Sustainability. It's a brand new position in Newport. Be very interesting to hear about how they pulled that together. And so we've got some, good ideas for coming up in the, for future speakers. But always, please, if you have ideas, please let us know. In terms of the TNC and the value of natural and nature-based solutions, part of that is valuation of the natural environment. And how do we place a monetary value on the natural environment? It's you know, lots of PhDs in this. It's a really good question. And so I think it's just really important for us to be mindful of of that. You know, what is the value of what we're doing? And what is the, you know, you know, there's return on investment, which we can maybe hopefully quantify, but then there's some of the things that we can't quantify, like view and fun on the beach and, you know, but there are people that do that professionally. And so it might be kind of interesting.
Beach is quantified for mental health.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that,
Oh,
right?
oh, yeah.
That's how
Oh,
that's how they quantify, when you, outdoor recreation is quantified under the benefit to your mental health.
benefits
as
to
a-
mental health.
which
Exactly.
actually-
Which has a number. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I thought would be
That's
really
cool.
interesting to be
Yeah.
presented. And Valerie, maybe we can talk offline and you and I could maybe come up with a speaker on this one. Yeah, just brainstorm on what what somebody could do. I think I heard somebody else talk about getting onto the TV on the ferries. I don't know if it was at the Conservation Commission or another, was it there that I heard that one? Okay. Yeah, so anyway, so we're all vying for,
Can I make a comment on that?
yes, please.
We had information put up on the ferry for bidding.
Mhm.
And I don't have hard data. However, we didn't seem to get any real return on that. And part of it was half the time the TVs weren't playing, but mostly people just weren't watching. They were outside, so it didn't seem to get the return that we hoped.
That's really good to know. That's good to hear. I mean, good for us to hear.
Right.
Yes, Mary. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So you came in at 3 and you're leaving at 4.
That's not bad.
Make up for me not being here.
Oh, well, thank you for coming at all, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Oh, my God. I'd like to go back to something that Sosha discussed, but we just glossed right past it. And that is, what is the question that we're going to ask at Earth Day? We really need help on that one. You know, where were you most concerned about sea level rise? That was our first question. What can be done to address sea level rise and where? That was our second question. And we got some really good ideas of different ways to address sea level rise. But what question do we ask in 2025? And this is coming up in just, you know, several weeks. So I really think it's important for us to, you know, come up, at least by our March meeting, come up with what that question is going to be.
What are you willing to lose?
Oh,
Think about
Wow.
it. What are you willing to lose?
yeah, well, that's a
Part of, I think, is that insurance question. That's what we're running against even with our condo on the mainland. And you know, at what point can you continue to pay insurance on something? At what level do you
Right.
get pushed out?
Right.
Or, and can, you know, moving, if you look at Florida, can you self-insure? Are you, you know, there's a whole idea of, I can have my house somewhere and I can put it there and I have insurance on it. And it's a very different level, people money-wise that can self-insure. So at what point do you push out?
Head, Nigel, you have.
No, I was looking at some of the, the websites that Judy mentioned in the agenda, and some of those are for communities where this is a huge problem because pretty much the whole community is subject to flooding. I mean, that's not really much of a problem on Block Island, as I understand it. I mean, so I understand the concern about home insurance. In fact, I have a question for everyone here. has anyone recently had a home insurance policy renewal and looked to see what change they had from last year? So ours, we just had a bill, ours went up 45%. We're ways away. This has nothing to do with flooding, clearly. Is this far a bigger risk than it was here on the island? Yeah, I mean, I've got a question into our agent to ask what the basis for this is, but you know, or is it just storms in general? And you know, storm damage on the island has not struck me as being a particularly high risk either. So, you know, what's going on?
Well-
And has anyone else seen anything similar?
Oh, Renee,
Renee.
please come up to the mic, Renee, because yes, thank you.
Don't mind, I have heard of premiums going up. But it seems like quite a few years ago, an awful lot of companies had pulled out of Block Island anyway. So that left a lot of us with the mass fair plan, so they have to insure you, but the biggest problem there is they will only cover up to $1 million. And I think one reason your policies are going up is, if we go up again, building costs. Like think, you know, like, can I rebuild my almost 2,000 square foot house for $1 million now? I don't know. So I'm curious as to what other companies people might have still. Cause Mass Rhode Island Fair Plan doesn't seem to have increased their fee.
We're just all states. I mean,
I'm whole state and it didn't happen to me.
Lloyd's of London.
Well, you're Lloyd's of London.
Well,
we
that's-
used to be Lloyd's of London, then Allstate took us on.
Yeah, well, no, it's all assigned out because Lathrop doesn't do it directly anymore. They're just intermediary. Always been expensive.
That's why I wanted a guest speaker.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. And, you know, if we do have if we can find a good insurance speaker, we should all come as an assignment with what's happened to our premiums. I'm going to go back and look at mine. Let's see if mine have gone up remarkably or not. And by the way, that is what priced me out of Florida. My, you know, over the course of the time that I lived there, they, went from like normal $4,000, you know, a year, whatever, $3,000 or $4,000 a year to over 11,000. And it happened in about 3 or 4 years. And it's because it was after the 2004 and 2005 hurricane seasons. About 4 years later, the insurance rates just went to the moon. And all of the companies pulled out of Florida. And so you have to, anyone in Florida who isn't grandfathered in as the state homeowners insurance, it's the only thing that's available. It's if you read about what's happening in Florida, it's pretty dramatic and by the way, you are paying for it. I'm paying for it. We all are. The fires, we're all paying for the fires in California. That's how insurance works. So if the natural disasters keep going up, then insurance premiums are going to keep going up, whether or not it's for you specifically. The other thing I wanted to say, and Allison is more familiar with this than I am, but insurance rates, at least for the town, are, and I think you might even be able to make an argument for your own home, but you know, we have the community rating system. And if the town engages in certain activities to improve its resilience, then it lowers our insurance rates. And the other thing is that the whole of Block Island basically it has one risk assigned to it. They don't look at your house and how far it is from the water. You have to do that with your insurance company individually. If you want to you have to like negotiate down your rates by showing that you're at 100 feet and that you're, you know, a mile from shore, half a mile from the shore, whatever it is. But you need to argue for that. And if the town has participated in the community rating system, which it has, and then you might be able to, use that to help argue your costs down. I don't know.
So
Allison
the
is,
town,
Yeah.
the town is a is in the CRS program, and that means all property owners in town are eligible to receive the 10% discount on their flood insurance premium. So
Flood
it's
insurance.
been about 5 years since we were accepted into the CRS.
It's only flat,
And
yeah,
it's
right.
based on what class you are. So the town is considered class 8, so that equates to 10% discount. And that's based on the activities that the town undertakes it's to flood mitigation, and some of it relates to how much of the island is conserved. That's how much, the percentage of land within the flood zone that is conserved. So there's a bunch of different activities that add up to the score of a class 8. So everyone receives a 10% discount.
I checked my insurance and had to chuckle, but with a great deal of anger. And that is that they will not cover flooding, even though I have flood insurance or something, but they won't cover a flood if the wind blows a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going, what? So I really want a person, not somebody who's directly connected to one particular agency, but somebody neutral, if there's such a thing, who can discuss which policies are acceptable on Block Island, or, yeah. And what pitfalls to look out for when you read the policy, like which direction is the wind blowing in, to point out those little pitfalls, because that's the fine print that gets you, you know? But I don't know, is there a person, is there a career? Is there any kind of person, does it even exist, who can speak about all? Yeah.
Every state has an insurance commission.
That's right. So Renee just said that every state has an insurance commission, and there's a commissioner, and they're supposed to be completely unbiased, and they're the place in the state where the populace is supposed to be able to go. Yeah, so maybe we could get a speaker from
Thank
the
you, Renee.
commissioner's office. That's a great idea. Thank you, Renee. That's a great idea. Cool.
Okay. So then next time we meet, we'll report on Ocean Avenue North.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we have our upcoming meetings, we have March. I have an idea of what to do in March, and it comes. No, because you're sitting across from me. I'm sorry. Here, I'll make contact with John in the audience. I'm sorry, Ann. I wasn't, boy, you dodged that chair bullet. Now your hairs are sensitive. What was I gonna say?
You have an idea for March,
Oh, for March, yes. So April is,
Earth Day.
April is Annette Grilly.
Oh, I see.
May is Coastal Institute. And so March is that's our last chance for a couple of months to just do stuff for us, for this committee.
Oh.
So, what do we need is there any business that, please feel free to contact me. Although I won't be super responsive on vacation, me and Claire, I should say. I'll try and get Claire to chair that meeting. And if not, I'll ask one of you guys to do it for me, at the March meeting. But I think that right now we have the Corn Neck Road project, and I feel like that's about all we can handle right now in terms of implementation of projects, and poor Allison managing the contracts.
Right.
Because, any of you who've ever had a contract, like a federal contract or a state contract, they come with questions constantly, and and it's the management of that contract is incredibly onerous. And so I want to be very mindful of Allison's time and, how much time she has to dedicate to these things. But that said, I do think that we should start to think about what's next. And is it Ocean Avenue North or is
think it's
it Bridgegate
Bridgegate.
Square? And what are our next steps? How do we describe what needs to be done at Bridgegate Square, working with the sewer company and the water company and the electric company and everybody? But and start to put together what a project might look like. I'm just
I hear
making
ya.
this up,
Yeah.
but I think it's really important that we have, quote, shovel-ready projects. And we can have more than one. We can have Ocean Avenue North, because Ocean Avenue North down by Bimmy has a different set of questions that we're asking. And so it might lend itself to a different funding source than Bridgegate Square, for example, or maybe it's both, anyway.
The
Yes.
GZA project, does it not include Bridgegate? Where does it run from to?
Mike can answer that probably better than me, but it's certainly the beach.
Beachhead to Scotch Beach.
Yeah, it's like the beach.
It doesn't go south of the
Beachhead,
beachhead?
no.
Okay. Well, that's,
No, but
Okay.
Neck really does with the modeling, because she is looking at her modeling domain is bigger than Crescent Beach, and so she's looking at
Sure,
land
sure.
distribution and stuff like that in her model.
Mm.
And that's just for you guys heard us talking about a box model, a sand model. That's different than the kind of modeling that Annette Grilly is doing. She's doing hydrodynamic modeling. So that it's a whole different way of approaching those questions. Yeah, looking at wave energy and currents and stuff like that, yeah.
So, but we already voted in as Bridgegate to be the next
Next one, we
project.
did already? Oh, good,
Yes,
thanks.
we
Thank you
did.
for. Claire and George
But
are
I,
the working
but
group,
I
yeah.
I still support what you're saying.
Yeah.
To have the whole group,
But
get
wait,
that group
But
started.
yeah, but to have the
Yeah.
whole group, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, is that our
Yeah.
next meeting, have the whole committee
Right.
working on it.
Right.
And you guys, we can do this any way we want, but I mean, this totally involves, the town wastewater management, water management, and then the electric co-op. So, do we want to make sure that there's representatives of those groups at the meeting, or do we want to do it ourselves first and then reach out to them? Do we want to,
Right.
maybe we use this, the March meeting to come up with a list of questions
That's right.
that we go to ask them?
That's right.
Valerie,
Well,
yes.
that's what I was going to say, is Social and I met with Dylan and Mike and, I'm drawing a blank, Jeff, right?
Yes,
When we talked about Ocean Ave North End, and having them in the room together to answer things like, who owns that road? What
Right.
is the state planning on doing with that road, was really very, very beneficial. If you wanted to get together to come up with questions ahead of time, that means we're gonna be out like 4 months. before we
out
get
4
to-
months, that's right.
Could we
Mhm.
email questions to each other, get questions together and ask them to come to the March meeting?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, do you want to help me with that?
I can help you.
Oh, thank you, Valerie. Thank you very much.
Ocean Avenue North in March.
Uh,
Bridgegate Square is what we decided, we voted on as our next area of.
Right, but then Valerie was just talking about Ocean Avenue.
Well, we had met with them. and
No,
they
she was
found-
using it as an example of the value of having the Dylan and Jeff and Mike Shea in the room with her when they were talking about Ocean Avenue North. And that why don't we get our questions in advance so that they could be with us if they're available in March? So they're in the room with us when we're having the conversation in March.
Yes, and you've identified who it would be?
Dylan.
Oh, okay, all right.
John,
Same people,
Mike,
same people.
Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, okay, same people.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, it would be, I think, water, sewer, electric, and roads, yeah.
Oh, so John Brunig was the other person there. There was
Yes,
of them
4,
there.
yeah. I figured you had water, yeah. Okay, well, you know what, you guys, and we're starting to get people coming in for the next meeting. I put on your agendas a bunch just to tickle you to please go out there and look for what other communities are doing and get examples of how they've approached it. Nantucket is a wonderful example, but holy cannoli, they poured tons of money into it. That isn't, I mean, we don't have anything like that available to us. So, you know, so look at like Adesto Beach. That's just a small community in South Carolina. That I thought that one was fascinating and how they got a bunch of researchers to help them do the assessment of what their risks were. And by the way, we've not, have we ever done a real risk assessment out here? I mean, we just used our intuition, but I think there, Allison, in 2013 or 2009, wasn't there a risk assessment?
Not sure what you mean by risk assessment
Like,
from that date. I
why
mean,
do
there's
we
been
have to
planning-
worry about? Yeah,
No, I mean, we've had certainly planning documents and we've had, through the MRP process, the workshop,
right.
certainly there's been identification of risk throughout,
Yeah,
through
maybe we
multiple
don't even
planning
need one.
processes, like the
Yeah.
hazard mitigation plan,
Spawn
that
tools,
involves a
Sussex
risk
Florida.
assessment. So, I don't know
Okay.
that there's like an individual standalone risk assessment, but we've had planning documents and the resiliency through the MRP process, the summary of findings report, speaks to some of that risks, but unless there's another document that I can't think of right now, that's an individual risk assessment.
Yeah, I think,
specific
I mean,
to structures.
we're in really good shape because of the advanced work that's been done, especially around Corneck Road. But yeah, I don't think that we'd ever done sort of an overarching, what are the risks on Block Island? And we've done that in this committee using our own intuition. And that's what Nigel was saying, was that Storm Tools kind of
Yeah.
does that for us in a
Yeah.
way, yeah.
I looked at the Nantucket plan and frankly, they're very thorough. They have all kinds of documents that tell the island what needs to be done, but they're not specific as to which mitigation strategies they wish to use. And I kind of feel like that our comprehensive plan and our hazard mitigation plan rivals the quality of that kind of planning. But I wish what I'm hungry for is give me a specific strategy that some of these islands are using,
Right.
specific ones,
Yeah, like maybe going to the Island Institute and asking for specific examples,
You
but
know?
you can do them online. You can look
Right,
for them
right,
online. And
right,
that's what I did with these, was I heard a talk and I just started digging around in South Carolina because that was where the examples were. But
I can bring what I wrote up for Nantucket. In other words, we have something.
yeah, okay. So we've got our marching orders for March a bit, and April and May. And is there anything else that for the good of the group before we close? Yes, Anne.
Just a reminder that the Nature Conservancy, the Climate Resiliency Coordinator position, I believe the applications closed a few days ago,
Oh.
January 30th. I haven't heard, about the selection process, but the hope was that someone would be starting by March. So just to keep that in mind, that there'll be a new person starting.
Oh, nice.
And the great
But
news
hopefully
about this is, sorry that Kim isn't here right now, but
Yeah.
the great news about this is that this is a 3-year appointment.
1 year.
Oh, it's only a 1 year? Oh,
I mean, I
I'm
think
sorry,
it might be renewable, but they're
1 year
1 year at
renewable.
least, yeah,
Okay,
at this
I'm
point.
sorry, you know what, I'm confusing them with the resilience officers that are being hired by the state.
Right.
Which, by the way, let me also mention to you
Yeah.
guys that the state, I sent out to you the job descriptions and the call
Right, and
for,
input.
yeah, ask for input, but the state has hired is in the process of hiring 3 resilience officers. They're going to have 1 for the coast, 1 for urban areas, and 1 for inland. I think I've got that right, for the 3 divisions, but this has been, the state has hired these people in response to the call from the communities, including us on Block Island, that, you know, we talked to NOAA and they have all these great tools that we have no technical ability to employ. And what do? You know, we have nowhere to go to ask for help. And in fact, what we've done is we've asked URI for help, and which is appropriate, but it's, when it's all the communities asking the same questions, then let's all work together. And so and why can't we have a place in the state where we go to ask these questions? And so Kim Coriath was hired as the Rhode Island Resilience Officer, Resilience Chief, whatever her name is, title is. And then these 3 people will be working for Kim, I believe, and they will be the community's go-to place.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Exciting.
Will they be reaching out to us, or can we actually ask them to come and
Oh, sure.
visit and give a talk?
Oh, yeah, I think we should. Yeah. Yeah, I think that we want these people, whoever the coastal person is, we want them to be as familiar as possible with Block Island, so that when opportunities arise, that they think of us.
So that can be tied in with the talk or the guest speaker on Rhode Island resilience status of the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, let's,
Cool.
yeah.
Judy, you mentioned having Kim possibly come to a meeting, so maybe like holding off till we have the new person start. I know I saw the applications are due
Yes.
in a week or so. So they may not have some in March, but maybe having that person attend a meeting who's
Yeah,
assigned to this.
that's a great
meeting.
idea.
But we could reach out proactively, like in advance, and try to make that happen.
Well, yeah, so for example, even, you know, if they're on board, but in April, invite them to the Net Grilly Talk. If they're in, and no matter what, if they're, if they're on board by May, definitely
Right.
would love to have them here with the URI Coastal Institute as we're discussing becoming a climate response demonstration site
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
sure
state
they'd
of Rhode
appreciate
Island.
the opportunity to introduce themselves and what
Yeah.
work they would be, what their scope is and how they could help.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Write it down.
Okay.
I can reach out to Kim if you want. I'll email her.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to discuss related to coastal resilience today?
Have a wonderful trip.
Thank you. Can I hear a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
So should.
Second.
Nigel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Wait.